All right, everybody. So I'm in the car right now with Gervacio. He's been telling me, he's been saying, let me take you out to lunch. And then he found out it was my birthday. And then he wanted to take me out to lunch even more. So he's mad at me right now. Look at, he's mad because I paid for it right now.
Yeah.
But
because I give you some excuses that I got my credit card. Yeah. Yeah.
So Gervacio, we got in the car right now, and Gervacio was asking me. He said, James, he says, how old were you when you started working? And I said, well, I was about 14 years old when I started working. And he asked me, he says, well, he says, you could tell, he says, you could tell you've been, since you're young. And then he asked how old I was. And I told him, I said, I just turned, 40, 41. And he says, wow, he says, you're the boss at such a young age. Gervacio went on to start to tell me after that about how he grew up in Mexico. He's from Taluca, right, Gervacio?
Yeah, from Taluca, Mexico. Yes.
He went on to tell me that he's been working since he was 8 years old, and I found you would think obviously in that in a foreign country the kids do start working young, but he actually had a unique story, man, where he started to tell me about how his mother passed away when he was just a little boy, and that was a big part of the reason why he had to go to work right away. He said his dad, same thing, wasn't a whole lot of support either. And, he's basically been working his whole life. He owned several different businesses on his own. Gervacio, tell me about the businesses that you owned.
I got my first own business, that was landscaping. And then maintenance on boats and yachts at Marina del Rey. And then social repair at Santa Monica.
So he's been hustling his whole life.
And now I really working like a Mexican with no papers. I had to put money to my socials.
He got papers. He's messing with you. But he said one thing, everybody, that really stood out when he started telling me the story about how he'd been working since he was just a little boy. And he said he sat down with his mother one day, and she said, Gervacio, look at the clouds, Gervacio. What do you see? And Gervacio, tell us what you said.
Well, we was watching the sky. That was like a bit already on the night, and so that was a very beautiful sky. And my mother asked me, "Do you really like the sky?" I said, "Yes, mommy, I really like it." And is any particular you really love from the sky? You really like more? I said, "Yes." So tell me which is you like more? I said, "I like the star." Why? Because it's the light is really strong. I love the light, Mama.
He said he liked the light. That is what caught his eye the most. Why? And keep on going, Gervacio.
Yeah, and so my mother told me, okay, so the star, that's me. And I said, come on, Mama, are you serious? I started laughing, and she said, yes, that's me. See, the more strong light can have, the more I take care of you, because I don't know what am I gonna do with you. You don't like school, you don't like church. So after that, 2 weeks later, she passed away.
2 weeks later, ladies and gentlemen,
his
mother passed away. That was an 8-year-old boy having a conversation like that with his mother, man. So, when I heard about that, I just can't help but to really think that, no matter how difficult one may think life would be, you always can look back and think back and, just know that other people, at some time, at one point of their life or another, definitely lived a much more difficult life. Like I said in the beginning of this video, his mother passed. She passed away, and his father wasn't all that much of support, so he had to go to work at a young age, and he's been hustling for a very long time. That's very honorable, Gervacio. That's very honorable, man.
Actually, my father, he doesn't love me, and my brother, he doesn't love me, my sister doesn't love me, my little sister, well, she cannot do nothing to me because she's younger than me. But I think all these things happened. That was because when my mother was online, my mother spoiled me too much. So it doesn't matter what am I doing. Always my mommy, she give me a kid, she give me a lot of love, and so that's maybe when she passed away, nobody loved me.
What do you feel like inspired you the most, Gervacio? What do you think inspired you the most and made you want to work harder and made you want to do good for yourself in life and just basically, do what you had to do to survive?
I just always remind the word my mom told me, and I say, wow, I'm fucking 64 years old, and always when I remind this, I just want to cry, but you know what? This is me. So I just remind the words of my mom, and that made me strong. And I say, well, you know, I always try to watch the star, and it's like I charm about it is, and that's the thing. I just the reason that's I keep it on working hard, and I like to be happy, to be optimist, and I always thinking, put in my mind, do something for my future.
I love it. I love it, everybody. Gervacio, everybody, just defined the odds his whole life. You know, saying that right now, you know, when I asked him what inspired you, he just said, hey, man, the words that my mother said. So anyhow, man, empathy is always good, man. You put yourself in somebody's shoes, and just remember that, you know, at 8 years old, he said goodbye to his mother, and he's been living off of, you know, some of the words that she told him as a little boy. And I think that's what carried him on, man. Love for sure always carries us through. Love always, love always conquers all. Love always fights back. Thank you, Gervacio, man. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.